Alright then. So, not too long ago, I uploaded a video about spiny eels. Actually, a few videos, but those videos were recorded a couple of years ago, actually. So, this is February, I believe, 17 of 2021, and this is a new spiny eel. Oh, look how beautiful this little. Sorry, got distracted right there. So this spiny eel, obviously, it's a juvenile, approximately 3 to 4 inches long, not more than 4 inches long. They usually grow no more than 8 inches, so she's gonna double in size, he or she. And it was wrongly labeled as a peacock eel, but as you can see, it's not a peacock eel. It's a half-banded spiny eel, if I'm correct. There's many similar subspecies, so it could be wrong. I could have a little thing wrong, but I know I've kept this before, so I know what I have more or less. And as you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful fish. They are not true eels. Eels are not fish, and this guy is a fish. They're just long, but as you can see, it has fins, which is not a characteristic of eels. So there you go. So what I wanted to say is that the story behind my previous eels, because I'm sure some people, one or two of my viewers out of 6 viewers, will question what happened to my other spiny eels. And what happened is quite simple, actually. This 80-gallon tank used to be completely filled to the rim. Well, not to the rim, but you know what I mean. And it used to be a community tank, a community slash predator tank. So I had a tenopoma, couple of tenopomas. I have spiny tail. I've had many fish here that can predate on other fish like the platies, especially when they're small, when they have fry and you know. Spiny tail in particular is not a good predator for them because she only eats very tiny creatures. As you can see, her mouth is very tiny, very small. So that she cannot eat this fish, but she will eat the fry. And I always like to create little ecosystems, so I don't mind having fish that eat other fish as long as they don't completely destroy all the fish. So there's enough space for them to eat. There's enough room for an ecosystem. That's what I'm saying. And so anyway, I had a very nice tank. I was in love with it, and I had created a sump. A sump is another water reservoir that goes usually underneath, and this is a bunch of things, but a bunch of products here that I keep. But I used to have a sump right here. It was a 20-gallon or 30-gallon sump. So to the 80-gallon, you would add another 20-gallon. That made this tank basically 100-gallon of volume of water. And so I would keep a good amount of animals in here, and they were very healthy and everything was perfect. I had plants in the sump, so I had a light and plants, and that basically helped with the bioload. In other words, cleaning the water, to simplify it. So one day I built the sump. I built everything, the tube, and the intakes. And so one of the gaskets broke or started leaking. And then one day, I believe I came back from work. um, Most of the water, actually the water was probably this high, so that means all of this emptied in my apartment and it was flooded. um, Huge problem. And it happened during high season at my place of work, which means I was so busy those days. I was working 6 or 7 days a week, and I was working long shifts, and I just had no energy in me to fix. After I clean it, because I had to clean it, I didn't have energy to fix it and to rebuild it, because you had to rebuild it. I cannot just put up something and fix. I did try to put something around it, fix it, but you cannot just fix a leak. You have to redo it. You have to reseal it. So take it apart, which is difficult, and then put it back together and steal it again, buy new pieces that the piece broke or something, and everything was, it was too much. So that day or the next day, I took all the fish, not all of them, 80 or 90% of my fish to the fish store, one of the fish stores around here, and I gave them away. And I just gave them to the store owner who kind of used to know me. Been a while there since I go there, but I just told him, look, this happened. I have no time to fix it. Can you take all my fish? And he took all of them. And I was about to leave, and I was like, hey, can I take something and change? Like, I just took like one of those jump starters to start a tank again, because I was gonna just I had a couple of fish, so I was like, okay, let me just put some fish in the water and just have something. So I picked up a bottle of one of those bio. I forgot the name of it, but they basically have beneficial bacteria in it. So I got a little bottle of it for all my fish. Were kind of expensive, you could say. I mean, I don't care about the money uh, in that sense, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't get a fair trade. I just wanted to save them, so I just gave them away. And in the end, I decided to. I never fixed the sump. I never did it again. And because I love turtles, eventually I got a little turtle, which is this little Mr. Grumpy. Okay, and Mr. Grumpy does not require, and actually, ideally, you wouldn't fill up the tank all the way to the top. So they do prefer shallow water because they can easily take their head out and breathe. And since then, it's been a couple of years, and I've eventually added more fish and little things and that. So as you can see, I keep mainly guppies, but I also have I have a golden gourami in here, and I have not guppies, platies, and I have coolie loaches and I don't know, some shrimp and snails. Shrimps, I don't know if they're still alive, but there's a jungle of fern in this place. It's just impossible to see what's inside. So, like I said, I don't mind if my turtle eats some of my fish, and I don't mind if the fish eat the shrimp or things like that, because that's just how it is. But it's been a few years, a couple of years, and the fish are doing perfectly fine. I never have overpopulation, and I never have to add more fish. I've added at first different amount of fish just to make more bloodlines, so that are not all brothers and sisters. But that was a long time ago. And anyway, I just decided, because this is really one of my favorite fish, that I'm gonna start again with just one, and just keep one. Spiny eel. They are excellent fish for a intermediate fish keeper, and by intermediate I mean somebody who's kept fish properly for couple of years, and not somebody who's just starting, because there is some requirements that if you miss them, you're gonna have a hard time. They do prefer to eat live fish, or live food actually, like fry and daphnia, bloodworms, etc., etc. And they also, ideally, you would have to give them sand, which I have, because they love digging and they love hiding under sand, and a bunch of other things, but mainly that. But they're really actually easy fish compared to other, and the space requirement is not that great. It doesn't require much, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and they don't, like I said, the biggest challenge is feeding them, because they eat very tiny pieces of fish, and they usually prefer live. So some people I've read that some people had trouble feeding them because they wouldn't eat frozen food. It hasn't happened with me, and I've hopefully it's just not luck. Maybe they feel more natural in a more natural environment. They don't mind eating the frozen. I don't know. It just happens. I've never had problems with that, so I feed them frozen food all the time, which I have. So that's it. 10-minute video, but it's one of my favorite fish in the fresh water and salt water. Why not throw in there salt water? Because I never kept salt water. But it's one of my favorite fish ever as a pet keeper, or fish keeper, and definitely my top 5 without thinking much about it, and probably top 3 of every fish that I've kept. So that's it. Beautiful fish. It's just amazing just to see them swim around, just how they move, just entertaining. So yeah, I'll try to keep you updated as much as I can, guys. Um, there you go. Maybe I can name him or her. I need to look it up again. How to tell the difference between male and female is very hard, but you can kind of figure it out.